Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping straight into Deuteronomy chapter 25.
Yes, and it's quite a chapter. Covers a lot of ground law, family, business, even historical memory.
It really does. So our mission is basically to unpack these varied rules and see what insights they offer, what values shine through.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Well, right at the beginning it talks about settling disputes. Men go before judges.
Right, the standard judicial setup. Guilty or innocent decided right there.
Exactly, but then it gets specific about punishment if someone's found guilty and, well, deserves a beating.
Ah, yes, the flogging. It mentions it has to happen in the judge's presence. That's an interesting detail.
It is, and the limit no more than 40 lashes.
40, not 39, not 41, 40 max. Why do you think they set that specific number?
Well, the text actually gives a reason, doesn't it? It says it's to prevent your brother from being degraded in your eyes.
So there's a kind of built-in check. Punishment, yes, but not utter humiliation. Dignity seems to matter, even then. And the judge watching, maybe for oversight.
Seems likely. Oversight and maintaining that dignity threshold. Then, boom, a total shift.
Oh, yeah. To what?
The ox. Do not muzzle an ox while it is treading out the grain. Just dropped in there.
Yeah. From human justice to animal snack breaks.
Huh.
But it makes sense, right? Let the laborer enjoy the fruits of their work. Even an animal.
A little principle of fairness tucked in.
Okay.
So after the ox, it moves into family law. Specifically, brothers living together, and one dies without a son.
The levirate marriage, a well-known ancient practice.
Explain that a bit. The surviving brother has a duty.
Yes, he's required to marry the widow. It's framed as fulfilling the duty of a brother-in-law.
And the purpose?
It's stated pretty clearly. The first son born carries the dead brother's name. So his lineage, his name, isn't blotted out of the community. It's all about continuity.
Preserving the family line. But what if the living brother says no? If he refuses?
Then there's a process. The widow goes public, takes it to the elders at the town gate.
The main public space, right, where these things get settled.
Exactly. And if he still refuses, even before the elders...
This is where that ritual comes in, isn't it?
It is. A very vivid one. She goes up to him, pulls off his sandal.
And spits in his face.
Wow. Right in front of everyone. And she declares, basically, this is what happens to a man who won't build up his brother's family.
Public shame. Symbolism. Taking the sandal might mean loss of standing, maybe rights.
Could he be? It's powerful. And the consequence lasts. His family line gets a nickname.
The family of the unsandaled. A permanent mark of that refusal.
Yeah. Imagine carrying that name. Okay, another sharp turn now.
Let me guess. Something completely different.
You got it. 2 men fighting, and one man's wife jumps in to help her husband.
Okay. Yeah, how does she intervene?
The text is very graphic. She grabs the other man's private parts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And the consequence for that?
Severe. You shall cut off her hand. Show no pity.
Whoa. That's
Oh.
incredibly harsh for that specific act.
It really highlights certain boundaries or maybe vulnerabilities they felt needed extreme protection. A very intense reaction.
Definitely. Okay, moving on again. Feels like whiplash. What's next?
Business ethics. Weights and measures.
Right. Can't have 2 different sets. A heavy one for buying, a light one for selling. Or different sizes?
Exactly. The rule is simple. They must be accurate and honest. Full stop.
And there's a reason given for this too, isn't there? Linked to their life in the land.
Yes. So that you may live long in the land the Lord your God is giving you. Honesty in the market equals stability and blessing for the whole community.
And God's view is clear too.
Very clear. The Lord detests anyone doing dishonest things like that. It's a moral issue, not just economic.
Okay, one last section in this chapter. A historical command.
About the Amalekites.
Yeah, remember what Amalek did to you when they came out of Egypt.
How they attacked the stragglers, the weak and weary at the back. And the text adds, crucially, they had no fear of God.
That seems key. So what's the command?
When God gives you rest from your enemies later on, you must blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven.
Blot out their memory. That's more than just defeating them. It's erasure.
Total erasure. Because of how they acted, their perceived defiance of God. And the chapter ends with this final stark instruction.
Do not forget. Forget the command to erase, essentially.
Exactly. Quite an ending.
So wrapping this up, what a mix in one chapter. Courtroom procedures, animal welfare, family duty, public shaming rituals, extreme consequences for specific acts, market honesty, divine promises, and this heavy command about historical enemies and memory.
It's really something, isn't it? The sheer range. It shows this incredibly detailed attempt to structure life, covering personal interactions, public ceremonies, economic fairness, and even how to remember the past, all woven together.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. What does putting all these different kinds of instructions, physical punishments, symbolic acts, economic rules, commands about memory side by side in one single chapter tell us about how this ancient society saw the world,
Yeah.
how interconnected they believed all these different parts of life really were? Makes you think.